police position themselves to serve warrants.
You're telling me that the homes on the other side of Osage Avenue may be on fire?
State police helicopter drops in. There is the explosion.
The MOVE organization is a powerful family of revolutionaries. Fixed in principle, strong in cohesion, steady as the foundation of a massive tree. Long live John F.
In 1972, MOVE was founded in Philadelphia by Vincent Leapart, commonly known as John Africa. The radical Back to Africa group, built on the idea of returning to a hunter-gatherer society, changed their surnames to Africa and strictly abided by John Africa's teachings, which enforced the equality of all living things, exposed injustice in the government, and supported self-defense, especially during an invasion of property. The failure to maintain compromises between radical group MOVE, their neighbors, and Philadelphia officials resulted in multiple conflicts that ultimately led to a bombing, killing 11 MOVE members and destroying a black residential neighborhood where evidence of subsequent neglect still remains today. The Philadelphia Black Power movement emerged from the expansion of the civil rights movement beginning in the 1950s, which gave African Americans more equal opportunities. Black Power elicited anger in the white community, including Philadelphia's mayor, Frank Rizzo. Prior to his election, Rizzo was the police commissioner of the city. He had a reputation of brutality towards African Americans and frequently arrested MOVE members on minor violations.
Rizzo was saying the MOVE organization has the right to die. We don't have the right to live.
During Rizzo's term as mayor, MOVE was squatting in a house in Powelton Village, a black neighborhood in West Philadelphia. Members would often stand atop their house with weapons, yell obscenities through a bullhorn, and threaten public officials. Police received persistent complaints from neighbors, and in response, increased their presence in the area. However, constant harassment from police towards Powelton Village residents only built more barriers between the predominantly black neighborhood and police. In an attempt to eradicate these issues through compromise, government officials devised a verbal 10-point agreement with MOVE. MOVE wanted written guarantee, but the city only gave oral reassurance. Pursuant to this agreement, MOVE would turn in their weapons and evacuate the house within 90 days. In return, the city agreed to release MOVE members who were incarcerated for minor crimes. After the 90 days, MOVE refused to vacate. Neither the city nor MOVE believed that the opposing group upheld their end of the agreement. Consequently, on August 8, 1978, police arrived with a warrant to forcibly evacuate the house, but MOVE members still refused to exit. Police officers then escalated the conflict by flooding the basement with gallons of water to force them out. This tactic failed, and soon gunfire began. It is unknown which side fired the first shot, but it is clear that MOVE's actions reflected their value of defensive property. Police released tear gas and smoke bombs along with hundreds of bullets into the basement. Amidst the exchange of gunfire, police officer James J. Ramp was shot and killed. 9 MOVE members were arrested on account of his death. The gunfire eventually ceased, but for the following 40 minutes, police discharged 50,000 gallons of water into the MOVE basement. Ultimately, Delbert Africa surrendered. Police officers immediately grabbed and beat him. The remaining MOVE members eventually evacuated the house and it was destroyed. Subsequently, MOVE relocated to Osage Avenue and Cobbs Creek. The attempt at compromise between the police and MOVE only served to foster more conflict and distrust between the two groups. After the confrontation, the communication between police and MOVE lied dormant. MOVE began causing issues in their new neighborhood in 1983, just before W. Wilson Goode, the first black mayor of Philadelphia, took office.
Trash, and the animals were back there. In the summertime, they had raw meat back there. And
threatened to kill my 17-year-old son.
They threatened me, said...
what did they say they were going to do to you?
They said they were going to kick my door in, rape my wife, and kill my children.
Neighbors were angered with MOVE's behavior and demanded government intervention.
We are trying to get our people who are in jail unjustly because of the Powelton Village incident released. They said if we make you angry enough as residents, as our neighbors, then City Hall has got to respond.
Mayor Goode met with the neighbors in the summer of 1984, and he told them he would take care of the situation, but gave no specific details as to when. The neighbors accepted Goode's word as a compromise. The mayor ignored MOVE's behavior for the following year. During this time, Move began frequently attacking neighbors and built an illegal bunker on top of their home, where they stored gas and explosives. These actions forced government officials to make compromises on how to control Move. Police Commissioner Sambor wanted to evacuate Move at all costs, but Good was reluctant in fear of inciting more aggression. To satisfy both sides, Good, Sambor, and Managing Director Leo Brooks compromised by devising a plan to arrest Move members with outstanding warrants without using gunfire or harming children. Good directed Brooks to oversee the development of the plan, which was to be made by Sambor. According to the investigation of the event, the managing director did nothing. The police commissioner proceeded through the final stages of preparation with complete independence. Sambor's plan to release tear gas into the house and fire high-pressure water hoses at the bunker was approved by the mayor on May 9th. On May 13th, the plan commenced, despite Mayor Good's absence from the scene. Police attempted to compromise by ordering Move members with outstanding warrants to exit the house. When they refused, the police proceeded with Sambor's plan and conflict arose. Move began to fire shots, and defying Good's orders, a gunfight ensued. The police fired 10,000 rounds of ammunition, but Move members remained inside. Straying further from his plan, Sambor called Mayor Good asking for permission to drop state-sanctioned explosives to destroy the bunker. Good authorized the plan in a mere 30 seconds. His failure to thoughtfully consider this action disregarded the previous plan to leave children unharmed and imposed great danger on Move and their neighborhood. The bomb was dropped. Without Good's consent, Sambor allowed the fire to burn out of control for 45 minutes. The fire spread down Osage Avenue, then one block to Pine Street, causing the destruction of 61 houses, leaving 250 people homeless and killing 11 Move members, 5 of them children. With complete disregard of their initial objectives, Good and Sambor managed to take the lives of Move members and destroy the homes of many innocent black residents. Despite the national coverage of the bombing, it was soon forgotten. 3 investigations occurred, and no city leaders faced criminal charges. The mayor took full responsibility, and shortly after the bombing, both Sambor and Brooks resigned. Locally, neighbors' lives were left in pieces. The city rebuilt the area after the bombing, but with a substandard developer, there were many issues with the new homes. City officials continuously ignored these problems. In 2000, after constant failed repairs, the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority offered compensation for the homes. Many residents accepted this offer. 22 years after the bombing, Mayor Michael Nutter was still dealing with compensating the remaining residents.
Some of the neighbors took the financial compensation, some did not, some wanted more, and I mean, we just kind of had to, draw a line on what we were willing to do or to spend.
The abandoned houses are now covered with slabs of plywood and padlocked, and soon there became an increase in illegal activity in the neighborhood.
Because so many homes were abandoned, there's increased drug activity. There are people that they believe are prostituting.
In 2017, AJR Endeavors bought the property and began to redevelop the 36 empty homes. Unfortunately, most of the residents have already left. The prolonged repair of this Black City block demonstrates how the treatment of neighborhoods differs in Philadelphia between black and white communities. It is evident that racial prejudice within the government caused the careless approach to the situation. The fire stopped burning 30 years ago, but the wounds have never healed. The Move disasters left a stain on Philadelphia's reputation. The situation was an elaborate series of conflicts and compromises. The failed compromises between Move and the Rizzo administration led to the conflict of 1978. When the task of dealing with Move fell upon Mayor Good, he agreed to compromise with neighbors and other city officials, but when Good's administration strayed from this agreement, it led to confrontation. The area was carelessly rebuilt and by the year 2000, almost completely abandoned. The Philadelphia Special Investigation Commission stated that the decisions to drop a bomb on the house would not likely have been made had the Move house been situated in a comparable white neighborhood. 33 years later, the city is still trying to move forward from the failure of decade-old compromises and conflict.